a Columban. Our guest today is Fr Robert McCulloch, who is currently the Society Procurator General in Rome. Robert was ordained in 1970, so this year he is celebrating his Golden Jubilee of priesthood. Now, over those packed 50 years, he's fulfilled many roles, but his major commitment has been a period of about 34 years spent in Pakistan. Now, welcome, Robert. It was good to talk to you and good to see you as well.
Hello, Jim. Thank you very much for the welcome.
You're most welcome. And 34 years in Pakistan is quite a long time. And I believe that during that period, you were involved concurrently in three rather disparate types of apostolate. One concerned with healthcare, one concerned with education, and one concerned with promoting church teaching through the translation of church documents into the Urdu language. Now, on the surface, these three activities seem to be a little bit disconnected, but I'm sure when you're involved in them, there is a connecting thread running through the three. Could you elaborate a little bit on that for us, please?
Yes, certainly, Jim. First of all, I'd like to say many people ask me, why did I go to Pakistan? I volunteered to go to Pakistan back in 1977. The health work that I'm engaged in at the present time is continuing. Well, the three works are continuing works that I did when I was in Pakistan. The healthcare is focused on St. Elizabeth Hospital in Hyderabad, which is a hospital of 110-bed hospital, primarily mother and child speciality, but a general hospital, well equipped. Recently, a new emergency department was opened. New wards and private rooms were upgraded. Linked to the hospital is the first ever home-based palliative care nursing service in Pakistan, the first ever and still the only one. Also, there's a medical outreach program that provides primary medical care to more than 50,000 people annually in rural areas out from Hyderabad. And also, there's a school of midwifery that provides professional training for Christian women to become midwives and has trained more than 600 midwives. Now, all of these works are supported through the generosity of benefactors and donors, mainly in Australia. So without them, we would be in a difficult situation, but with them, we can do great things together.
What about the training of staff? There's some highly qualified people there. Have they been able to do their training in Pakistan, or have they studied overseas?
While I was the chair of the board in Pakistan and continue in that position now even, it has been a focus in the development of our human resources, and especially our Catholic human resources, even though there's Hindu and Muslim doctors at the hospital, using facilities that are available in Pakistan for staff development. But one of our staff members, Eric Siraj, who's the administrator of the hospital, young man, 35 years old, he's done clinical attachments in palliative care nursing in Singapore and then at Cabrini Hospital in Melbourne. So this wide dimension of professional training, developing competency has been a primary focus of the hospital.
Have you encountered any problems, Robert, with getting visas for people to travel overseas and do further professional studies there?
Yes, a major challenge, of course, is getting visas to get people to get out, because, but nevertheless, people in places where we send our personnel to are very obliging, very helpful, and very understanding. So the links are made and they continue. If I could go on to the education side, it's not schools that I'm involved with, but it's educational centers to help young Catholic teenagers and young men get over the boundaries and the barriers of social discrimination to achieve at high level at university. 3 centers opened up. One, first of all, for young men who are totally uneducated, dropouts from schools, to get them through education within their secondary education within 2 years, accelerated. Another one to get very, very able young men into university on merit. And now we've just recently opened up a Center for Professional Development so that our university graduates and alumni can successfully sit for the senior government civil service examinations of the federal government and the provincial government. Again, all of these are completely 100% supported by our benefactors. All we ask from our Catholic teenagers and young men who are attending this is 100% participation, and we get it from them.
So what type of advantage does education offer them? A secure job?
It offers them, first of all, the ability to achieve hopes that they never thought they could achieve. Confidence in society, and education, high-level education has enabled them to get into positions in Pakistan which they thought were beyond them. And it's breaking down in many ways the perceptions about Christians vis-a-vis the majority of the population. It's a process that enables our young Catholic men to integrate successfully, confidently, and competently in Pakistani society.
Now, I presume a lot of this work happens in English. Is English the medium, or is a local language?
For the morning session, for the young men who are school dropouts or never been to school, the medium for them is Urdu, but the necessary English that has to be taught according to the government syllabus, that's taught to them. But for the other 2 sessions, English right through, and their development of their English skills, they could be sitting here, our alumni, and be as participating even better than I am in this conversation with you.
That's obviously quite a high level of English that you're speaking about.
And I presume that the priests and teachers and people of that nature in Pakistan also have a high level of English. In what way do you see the advantage of having church documents translated into Urdu? Because I think Urdu is the language of the educated people. And I don't know, when I was in Pakistan, I met very few people who told me they spoke Urdu in their everyday communications. They were speaking Punjabi or some other local dialect or language. So what is the purpose of the Urdu translation?
Urdu is the national language of literacy. It is the national language, but from the point of view of literacy, it is the national language. It's the national language of education up and down the country. So literacy in Pakistan is Urdu before it is English. The works that we've been have translated is the Catechism of the Catholic Church, completely completed. The work is ongoing with the Missal, the Roman Missal, translating that. We translate that from Latin, directly from Latin into Urdu, because of the similarity linguistically between Latin and the Sanskritic languages, and Urdu is one of those. Many other works have been translated, but this is the particular work that we're engaged in at the moment. And when I say we, there's a team of 6. The other 5 have been engaged in training, developing. Several of them have come to Rome to do courses in translation skills. So it's a work not only of doing the translating now, but preparing a team of translators for the future.
So this is an ongoing commitment.
Yes, it is. I mean, there's, for the official Vatican text, papal encyclicals, most of them are not read. They're unknown texts. simply because they're not available in a language which is broadly known rather than English.
Right. That's a problem, I think, in many countries. And thank you for picking me up on my pronunciation of the national language of Pakistan. I've learned something already today. Now, these days you're living in Rome, but you still have an extremely tight connection with Pakistan. I think you spend still quite a lot of time in Pakistan, and also you have some other representative obligations that you fulfill on behalf of Pakistan.
Yes, I return to Pakistan twice a year because I'm still the, well, on behalf of the Vatican work to be done, and also on behalf of the Episcopal Conference, but I also act as the donor representative for all donations coming in to the works that I spoke about. I think I should mention that all of our works in Pakistan are 100% compliant with the requirements of the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission. So that's an important area to monitor. Another area that I've developed links with is between Vatican officers and the Pakistan Supreme Court, a follow-on actually from the magnificent decision setting Asya Bibi free, who've been condemned to death for blasphemy. Linkages with federal ministers, which are advantageous for the Catholic Church and also for linkages with the Secretariat of State in Rome. I have close links with the Pakistan Embassy to the Holy See here because the ambassador lives in Bern, and in many ways I'm his official representative here in Rome. Bern is in Switzerland. One of the other major responsibilities I have here, obviously, as Procurator General, is representing the Columban Society leader, Columban Superior General, at the Vatican offices, doing any work that's required here, because the Superior General, Society leader, is living in Hong Kong. And I have developed excellent contacts with the diplomats of countries where Columbans are working, and very often that is for the advantage of the Columbans and the people that they work with. Another area is ecumenically, very close links that I've been able to develop with the representatives of the Archbishop of Canterbury to the Holy See, of the Presbyterian Church to the Holy See, and of the Methodist World Federation to the Holy See. So these are ongoing, important ecumenical connections which have huge ramifications, I believe, for the missionary work of Columbans.
I also believe you've moved your ecumenical work into the field of cricket, and you're the founding secretary of St Peter's Cricket Club, and they have played in England, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, it was founded back in 2016. Unfortunately, I wasn't the founding secretary. That would have been too much work. I was the first committee member after having been invited by the then ambassador of Australia to the Holy See. Yes, it's had extraordinary linkages. It's virtually known as the Pope's 11 versus the Archbishop of Canterbury's 11.
I think there was also an ambition to go to Pakistan and play a match there. Did that ever eventuate?
We received a magnificent support from one of the governors in Pakistan, financial and equipment for our team anyway. So there have been those links.
That's a rather interesting type of aspect to add to your job, I think. And my memory of you in Australia was that you were never a great cricket fan. And I remember you sent me a photograph of yourself receiving the gift of a bat from, I think, the governor of the Sindh in Pakistan.
Precisely.
And we were all quite surprised you were holding it at the right end. So perhaps you've learned quite a lot about cricket, apart from these many other apostolates and works that you've been involved in during these 34 years of Pakistan.
If I might say, I knew how to hold the check perfectly well that the governor gave me.
sure that's something you're very good at. Well, we might leave it there, Robert. It's been wonderful to talk to you and great to find out about the various works that you've been involved in. I just add congratulations on your Golden Jubilee and wish you many years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you.